All right, welcome back to the Justin Prince Show. Today is a really important and a really special interview with a man who I've admired from afar for years and now has become really a friend. It's Dean Graziosi, and here's what I want to share with you. Is normally you'd read his bio, all the New York Times bestselling books, or the $1 billion plus in education that he's had online in both marketing and real estate and leadership and habits and so on. But I sometimes think when we meet people like this, we don't know as much of the human side of people like this. So you see more, in essence, from afar as a social media figure or a person on television, etc. I wanted to share with you that you're going to meet a man that I've had dinner at his home with he and his wife, and met his little cute kids, and met his beautiful daughter that's 18 and starting her career in her life and so on, and this is someone that is dedicating their life right now to helping people just like you to not feel overwhelmed, to not feel stressed, and to gain this new advantage of AI. And he's partnered with Tony Robbins to teach and to help people to understand what's going on. So this interview is going to be one of the most important interviews that you're going to hear, because, my friends, you've got to get up to speed. This is the time you've got to start taking this stuff serious. So you have kind of a superpower that AI gives you to be more human, to get more things done, to reclaim more of your time, and to be better at what you do. They're putting on a summit that we'll discuss in the interview, but April 23rd to 25th. I want to encourage you to be there and to make sure you're investing in yourself and investing in your future, because the future, as we know, is not coming, it's here, my friend. And so you've got to get up to speed. So I'm excited for you guys to meet Dean Graziosi, and I'm excited for the interview. All right.
Great.
Good. So Dean, for me, the reason I wanted to get us on here, you and I were together in Palm Beach, 2 or 3 weeks ago. We were there with Tony Robbins, and I felt like a sense of urgency, particularly from Tony, almost like a warning, like guys, you've got to wake up, AI is coming, you've got to kind of get going. And in fact, I even told Tony, I felt like it was like a rant. He went on for like a 3-hour rant on just wake up, come on. And you guys are doing this summit together, but I wanted to get you on here because is this idea of waking up. You and Tony have both been teachers, right? In your case, you've taught real estate, you've taught marketing, but I feel like I've seen a little bit of a shift in you where it's more mission. It's more like helping society. It's almost more mission. By the way, you've always had the passion to help people.
Yeah.
But when did you personally realize that AI was going to fundamentally change the way business gets done? And why did you decide to just make this a mission for you and this passion for you instead of just kind of sitting back and enjoying your life?
Well, I have to say, first off, it's been so much fun getting to know you more and more for the last year. It's been fantastic. We had such a great time together. I appreciate your energy, and it's great getting to spend time with you and your wife, so it was great. One of them, it doesn't hurt to be friends with Tony Robbins, because he's not only my dearest friend and partner, he's someone that really has found his purpose in impact. And it's pretty cool. I know you feel the same way, Justin. When you can help people go faster, further, protect themselves, get healthier, stay out in front, let their businesses thrive, not fail. When you can do that for a living, I can't imagine anything better. And like anything in life, I was the guy in real estate, and then someday I taught it. And you're figuring out a business. How do I take these principles from actually doing real estate to actually teach it, and marketing and sales and building a company and CFOs and CEOs and all these things that happen over time, right? And then you get to a certain phase of your life, and it was probably a decade ago, where it just hit me that the better I get at what I do, the more lives get impacted.
Mm-hmm.
And when whatever comes first, the chicken or the egg. I'm sorry I'll go real quick on this, but there's a moment when you realize you could do anything in the world. You could sell widgets, you could sell steel, there's anything you can do. But man, if we get blessed to be in an area where our words matter, and if we're good at identifying patterns to help somebody invest in real estate or be better with personal development or better with marketing, if we have the access, if we have the skills, if we can make a call and get anybody on the other side of the call that we can interview to get knowledge, and if we do that enough, we can find patterns in anything. So my whole point is, yes, the last 10 years, especially the last 5, it is a mission to help people be armed for all the changes that are happening in the world. So I'll go really quick. Tony called me about a year ago, and him even more than me, but we're blessed to have a lot of great connections of people who see behind the curtain.
Yeah.
And Tony called me, goes, Dean, what's happening in AI is going to disrupt the whole world in a way like no one's ever seen. It's not like the printing press. It's not like the internet. It's not like the telephone. This is exponential because nothing's ever been smarter than us and nothing's ever grown so exponential. Like our brains can't even get up. And he's like, we have to arm people with the tools. Now, Tony and I aren't the AI experts. We're not tech experts. Never claimed to be. But what we do have, as I said earlier, we have access. So within 2 weeks, we started booking appointments. And we booked 50 interviews with AI experts, from a Mark Benioff who created Salesforce and does 30, 40 billion a year in revenue, to the entrepreneur that we respect that's crushing it because he's putting AI first, and everywhere in between. And what we were looking for, Justin, is patterns. What is allowing someone to go faster, further, quicker without losing their human touch, without losing their human voice, but allowing the same effort to get twice, 3 times, or 10 times the output? And that's why we're here. I know that was a long answer to a short story, but it has evolved as a passion. When Tony called me and said, we got to do it with AI, we did the interviews, we went deep, and that's exactly why we launched an AI training company, because there's plenty of education out there. There's plenty of noise out there. There's plenty of YouTube videos, but people are still behind. So we wanted to apply the principles we learned over, 78 years combined with the two of us doing it, to the patterns that work, and that's why I'm really excited about AI.
Yeah, to that point, I even think like within my own company, we're trying to get our own staff up to speed as fast as we possibly can. And there's 2 reasons why. There's obviously the company reason why, like earnings and EBITDA and balance sheets, all that. But there's really a very human side. It's like, we've got to get them up to speed because your event's called the new competitive edge. It's like, we've got to give them this new competitive edge, because if they don't get it, if they don't get up to speed, it's not that jobs are going away, it's just the jobs will go to those that have the new competitive
that are really good. Yeah, so it's so funny, Justin, I was just on with my team, one of our companies, Tony and I own, Mastermind, about 130 employees, and I was on virtual with all of them. And I said, I just want to share right now, I don't want to let anyone go during AI. Yeah. In fact, I want to double the size of our business, but without hiring a single person. You have to have intellectual curiosity. You have to make this a part of your life. And what I want you guys to get the repetitive, the boring, the mundane work out of the way, so each of you could be more innovative, more creative, to focus on how to grow the business, not just maintain the business. And so that shift is something we really got to help career people with, especially because, listen, this is a thing that is threatening. What if it takes my job? I think what you said was so brilliant. I don't think AI is going to replace you. That's a small part. But someone who's using it to go faster could.
Yes, exactly. They have, I think your name is so beautifully done. They have the new competitive edge. They have this edge on all the rest of us that if we're not up to speed. And to me, one of your great superpowers, I think I've shared this with you as we've spent time together, is you have a superpower to make complex things simple. It's part of your gift. It's part of your superpower, that you can make really big ideas, really complex things into like one little sentence. And I'd go to you after, I'm like, that is really well said. And there's so much noise around AI right now. What are you doing, like personally, and then what are you teaching people to do, in the education company on a daily basis, like practical ways to save time, practical ways to make better decisions, like practical ways to stay ahead without feeling that overwhelm,
Yeah, I'm going to share it in 3 buckets because it's worth. You've getting to know me a little more, Justin. I like to go upstream and talk about the foundational pieces, or else you never actually do the education, right? And I shared this with you when we were together live. Here's what I'd say: the first thing you need to do about AI. First, you need to give yourself a big purpose and reason why you need to learn it. Not just because it's a competitive edge, not just because you might lose your job, not because you want your company to grow. There needs to be a personal reason why, because you're going to get distracted. All those things are going to happen. So just think, if someone said, you better learn it or you're going to left behind, that might be enough. But if you said, I'm going to learn it so I can get 15 hours back a week, then you can plug in what that means. It might mean unlocking your creativity. It might mean time to scale the business. It might mean to get back in shape. Justin, you're in amazing shape, by the way. It's fun watching you work out. Or maybe you just want to use it to be home for dinner. And when you anchor in a purpose behind it, it changes the way you look at it. So first thing I'd say is find a purpose big enough that you say, all right, I got to do it. Because what you have to overcome, you have to overcome the fear. Whatever you say, people have a fear of like, is this Armageddon going to ruin the world, take all our jobs and end end the desire to work, or is it going to cure cancer and save all of us? And we're somewhere in between right now. Like, which one is it? If we have a purpose big enough, we can see the positive side of it. The third thing you got to realize, it's a change. It's human. Change affects all of us. None of us like change. We say we do, we don't. Nothing has moved like this. What's here on Tuesday could be gone and changed by next Friday. It's insane. So changes happen more rapid. We need a big enough purpose to say, hey, if I stay still, I'm going to fall behind. I want that time back. I want to grow. I want to be ahead. I have to embrace this change. It's the new normal. And then the fourth thing I'll say is you got to cut through the clutter. You can't chase every tool. Am I going to do a Claude bot, or am I doing Claude Code, or am I doing this one or that one or this one, and watching YouTube videos? You got to get rid of that, and you got to go down one path.
Yeah.
Then you can start devouring the education and implementing. So here's a couple things, and this is what Tony and I are going to share a lot at our event, but I'll tell you today, most people, if you look at 3 levels of AI level 1, AI like a fancy Google. It's doing research, it's looking things up way better, and you're like, this is awesome. Level 2 is this is where you get AI to know you. It's not generic anymore. It's not random. You're not just saying, help me write this email. Help me find this restaurant. Help me scale this. Help me find this right person to hire. Help me with a new formula. Help me with 6 coaching sessions. This is where you get AI to know you. You let it know your constraints, your goals, your desires, your values, your belief, what you hope to happen in 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, where you made mistakes in the past, where you're weak, where you're strong, where you excel, where you see your company. When you give AI context, it's like giving an A+, new hire A+ employee a task in the first 3 minutes, or spending 2 hours with them about everything and then give them a task. So you get AI to know you, and then you allow it to be your thought partner to think alongside of you. Make faster decisions, get the proposal done, get the thoughts done, rewrite your email, all these things, because it knows you. It's not random anymore. It's not generic. That's level 2. It's kind of like AI as a really smart executive assistant that's like a genie. Whatever you ask for it, it does. And then level 3 is where we're evolving.
Before we go to 3, can I share this just as you guys are listening? I want you to think about this. You have all of this information in the world. Your AI knows you, and this thought partner idea. I want to make sure you guys take a big important note on this. Like if when you're done with this podcast today, I'm hoping this is part of one of your implementation steps. Is you have a thought partner. You have someone that's the smartest. Got all this information, knows you specifically. And you can start bouncing those ideas off. And Dean, to your point, it also it doesn't think for you. It just sharpens your own thinking. It just helps
without
you
a doubt
to look around the corners and to anticipate a little bit better. And next thing you know, you're like, we were with Tony. Tony's been one of the great thought leaders, right, in the leadership space, the personal development space for 40 plus years. We're with Tony, and Tony's talking about how his thought partner, his AI thought partner, is helping him to refine his thinking. So it's like, if it's good enough for Tony, all of us need to be using it.
Oh my God, it's helping me write my book that I'm writing right now. I mean, think about it. If I take 2 days ago, it knows me so well that I got up in the morning, and about once a week, and this sounds silly, but about once a week, my brain at 57 years old goes, hey, you work out every day of your life. You could take a break. Why do you have to go to the gym today? You're a little tired. You should sleep in. I don't like that voice, and it's never happened before. So I leaned over and I just riffed to my clone, or my thought partner, and I'm like, hey, give me a new workout routine that's exciting, and give me an idea where I could bounce out of bed. It was like, this is your favorite song. Play this immediately. Here's a new workout, because it knew me. Then I got to work, and the team had written a whole email sequence. I'm like, they missed the point of these emails. And I had another meeting in 10 minutes, and they wanted to send them. I immediately went into my thought partner. I'm like, hey, you know my voice, you know how I do it. Here's the outcome. Rewrite these. Oh my God, they were a 10 out of 10 in 9 seconds, and in my voice. Right? Then I get home. I just was sharing this. I get home, and I have a 19, 17, 6, and 3-year-old.
Yeah,
and around the dinner table,
by the way.
Oh, thank you. And around the dinner table, I want to create intriguing conversation. So I go over to my thought partner. I'm like, hey, real quick, give me 10 questions for my 19, 17, 6, and 3 that are intriguing, they're funny, they make them think, that everybody could do. Boom, 10 questions. And we're sitting at the table. It already knew my kids. It knew me. It knew my goals. It knew our family values. And it gave us 10 things. And my daughter's like, I don't know if I'd rather fly, be a dolphin, or and we're having all this stuff. I'm like, oh my God. And when people think it takes away, that AI didn't make me a better dad. It amplified stuff to give me time to be a better dad. So I want to look through the lens of it, using AI to become more human, right? So that's like simple, fun stuff when a thought partner knows you. But let me give you one more. You asked me what I do. I want to tell you real life stuff last week. Right now, I'm on my 5th meeting with, I think they're the largest bank in the world. They have 313,000 employees, bank and investments. I'm on my 5th meeting, and when they told me exactly, we're talking about helping educate tens of thousands of their employees on AI the way we do it, to give them back time, to reduce complexity, do the mundane, because the AI education they're currently getting is just overwhelming everybody. And so I shared about those 5 steps, purpose and all that stuff. But before I got there, in a typical world, if I was going to build a slide deck for a company of this size, 300 and something thousand employees, I was thinking what I'd do. I'd probably riff on an audio for 10 to 15 minutes, and I'd send it to my assistant. Then I would do research on the company. How many employees? Who do they educate? How do they do? What do they usually hire? What are their goals? What are their desires? Where were they last year? Where are they this year? Are they going up? Are they going down? So I think of the research I would have done, working with my assistant, and then when we got it close, I would have decided, first slide, second slide, 5th slide, 7th slide. Then I would have handed it off to the copy team to write it. Then I would have handed it off to the graphic team to design it. And then they would have sent it back to me. I would have looked it over, made tweets, sent it over. I estimated about 30 hours. Then I'd have an amazing presentation. I literally went to my thought partner that knows me, knows my goals, and I just vomited up 15 minutes on an audio and said, this is the outcome. This is what I want. I want them to see we're different. I want them to see education shouldn't start with education. It should start with purpose and change and fear and cutting through the clutter. I'm not kidding you, Justin. In less than 45 minutes, I had the best presentation of my life. I mean, graphically designed. I never went, and I didn't even ask my personal assistant. Nobody helped me. In 30 minutes, I went there, I blew them away, and when I got done, I told them that my thought partner, my clone, built this in less than a half hour, and it actually, they didn't go, oh, he used this. They're like, now we have to have it. Yeah, so I'm sorry I went so long. I wanted to give you personal stuff and stuff that I'm doing that I am not a tech expert, but I am going 2 to 3 times as fast as I ever did before, and it's only getting better.
Yeah, it's like when they first introduced tractors. You're like, no, you can understand. I got a plow, and I know how to use the plow, and I'm used to the plow. My grandpa used the plow. My dad used the plow. It's like,
I love horses.
I love horses. Like, you don't take my horses from me. It's like, you've got to learn the new thing, because you can get so much more done with so much more efficiency. You can serve so many more people. In this case, produce so much more, in that case, food or crops, you know. And so I do think helping people to cut through the fear of it and the overwhelm of it, again, I think it's one of your special gifts. And then I think it's also one of the ways you've accelerated your business. I kind of cut you off there on, you had a rhythm, and that was number 2. Did you want to finish that number 3?
Yeah, the third one, I'll make it real simple. Third is if level 1 is AI like a fancy Google, doing research and helping you. Level 2 is you have this thought partner helping you make faster, better decisions and getting work done alongside of you. Level 3 is it working for you when you're not there. And that's where we've evolved to in the last 8 or 9 weeks. It was last time we had a big event, we had 600 and something thousand people. The technology wasn't there. If we tried to tell you to build an agent to do work for you, you had to figure stuff out. You had to figure, code. Those days are over. I mean, with a few clicks of a button, now you could start automating. So if you want 10 things done before you wake up, search the top 10 videos that align with this. Do a competitive analysis. Tell me what marketing is working out there and have it in my inbox at 6 a.m. It's doing it for you. So it's like this evolution of know to think like you, work with you, and then work for you. And we're on the cusp of working for you.
And do you feel like at the summit, are you going to get into all 3 levels?
We are.
So again, if I'm listening to this and I'm like, man, I know I need to get up to speed. I want to get up to speed. I would like for someone that is proven at knowing how to keep it simple for me, avoid overwhelm and complexity. What am I going to learn at that? Will I go through all 3 of those levels?
You will. And here's the cool part. It's not, Tony and I know the foundation of real change, right? We know how to teach and get stuff to stick. And out of those 50 interviews, we picked our favorite trainers, not even the smartest or the most successful, the ones that are most pragmatic, that know how to take something complicated. When they get done, you go, oh, I can do that.
Yeah, of course.
Right? So that's we have about 8 7 or 8 speakers coming. They're just going to knock people's socks off. And of course, Tony.
One of the things that is that it's like I've been teaching my whole life. It's like part of my business, must have is basically creating leveraged or residual income, like going from like a survival mode of just kind of working your job, just paying your bills and so on, into teaching people how to have scalable freedom or leveraged freedom. Mm-hmm. What was the actual mindset shift for you that took you from like surviving month to month to building businesses that create freedom and impact?
It's a really good question. I don't know if there was a moment that it all shifted. I think when you, and you know this personally because you've built amazing things, Justin, is there's a point that if you have the courage, the stamina, and you get to model other people, which I'm sure we both have done our whole lives. It's why we're in a mastermind together, right? When you can model proven practices, you have the courage to keep moving forward and you don't quit. There's a moment that there's a breakthrough that the working to get by kind of, it breaks. You realize it's a broken model. Like everybody's fighting for the safety, fighting for the normal. And it's almost like, and I've never shared it this way before, and it might not even come out great. But the fact of the matter is, once you break through that, you realize there's not much competition here. Like there's millions of people talking, it feels like, down here. And then you have courage, you model proven practices, you keep going forward, you don't quit even though you should. And then you don't quit again even though you should. And then your wife's like, should we quit? And you're like, yes, we should, but for some reason I'm not gonna.
I used to tell people I was like too stupid to quit. I was too stupid not to quit. I just kept going,
Yeah, exactly. And I think we all need a little bit of that naivete of like, right? It's like, and then all of a sudden there's this breakthrough and you're like, it's not like, easy, I don't have to do anything, but you're like, oh, this is different. Like if I put these things in place, if I deliver incredible value, if I focus on the marketing, if I don't listen to the outside voices, if I stay with this thought process that I'll do whatever it takes to make it happen, and you start getting this momentum, I just think that's where it accelerates. That's when you can't, because you're like, if I got here, because what do they always say? Your first million is the hardest, and that could be your first 100,000. I'm not making a million seem little, but the first is always the hardest.
For sure.
Right? I guarantee your first million in generated revenue and all your companies combined, you could probably measure how long that took, how many sleepless nights, how many times you doubted yourself when no one was watching, you thought about quitting. And then I guarantee if you looked at the second one, you're like, wow, that wasn't that hard.
Yeah.
Right? And so I think it's building that muscle.
Have you ever had that happen where you drive somewhere and on the way there it feels like it's really long and you're following the maps at every turn? And then, you're trying to make sure you're going the right way and make sure you didn't turn left when you're supposed to turn right. And then on the way home, it's just like, you're home in 15 minutes. You're like, man, this isn't even that far away. Or you go on a walk on the beach.
That's so true.
And then way home, you're like, we're already back, There's just something about once you've already been there and it doesn't
familiarity
feel brand new to you. The familiarity kicks in. And all of a sudden you're like, this actually isn't that hard. That's why you can guide people. It's one of the reasons I think you and Tony have created such a powerful team is two things. One, you've already walked the path, and so you have familiarity with the path, so you can help people, hey, avoid this pitfall, that pitfall, and so on. But the second thing is, you and Tony are great, maybe the two best in the world, but they're certainly great at helping people to shift or update their identity. In my book, I talk about update your identity. And I think as we're heading into this new world, this new AI world and robots and so on, it does take a little bit of an identity shift.
For sure, it takes a lot of identity.
Your mindset becomes a new multiplier. How do you process that, and how would you encourage someone to update their identity as we head into this new era of our lives, this new disruptive era?
It's a really good point, because, listen, I see, we scour all the comments online about AI, not just ours. We even have a scraper on X just taking all the negative and positive comments to see what people are saying. And we're in that kind of middle of the road. AI is going to ruin the world, we said it earlier, end the world. Or AI is going to cure cancer and be the greatest thing for all of us, the great equalizer. And we're kind of stuck in that middle, and our identity's kind of stuck. Like, am I going to embrace this new thing? Or if I do that, am I actually hurting the world? And is there enough power for this? And we're going to drain the grid, right? And you got this guilt, you got all, what I think we have to do, what I've done, because what we, not to repeat Tony Robbins, but what we focus on is what we get, right? And if we focus on that this is the end of the world and it's a horrible thing, we unfortunately won't get the benefits out of it. We could be left behind. The gap is getting bigger every day. So I'd rather have faith in humankind and say, we haven't been perfect since the beginning of time, but we end up okay. I mean, I'd rather be alive today than any other time in history. Would you want to be alive 150 years ago, 300 years ago? Technology has only allowed the world to get better since the beginning of time. I had Zach Cass here yesterday, one of the smartest guys I've ever met. He said, think about anything, the automobile, electricity, the printing press, the internet. He went through all of them. He goes, everyone has allowed for a better, easier life. And what he said, none of them have been as cheap and as powerful as AI. He believes AI is going to be the great equalizer in bringing down costs of everything and giving us additional opportunities. He sees all great, but when he sees through that lens, I want to borrow that from him, Justin, because if we can look through that lens of AI is going to change the world in a good way, then I want to learn it. I want to be a part of it. I want to be on there. Compared to if you still got that, then your values, your character, right, your identity is. I can't go there because it's going to hurt the world. And I think this gives us an top opportunity to be the first generation that didn't have it and has it. So my identity could be an investigator. My identity could be an innovator. My identity could be, I'm going to test this to see how I can make myself more human. And I think we need that. And it's, if you're thinking, this sounds a little crazy, I'm not sure I could do it, great, you're human. We're in this weird phase. But yeah, that's what I think. I think we have to find this identity of the explorer.
Yeah, so we're in the Zenith group in West Palm Beach. Tony, I think, was supposed to come for 3 hours and teach about relationships. He's 3 hours in on this, just trying to wake us up on, like, guys, you got to get going on AI. And the woman sitting next to me in the group, she and her husband they live in Dubai. They're from India, live in Dubai. They're architects. He's an architect, really brilliant man. And she turns to me and she says, she was trying to almost like whisper it because she didn't want anyone around us to hear maybe we were being pessimistic. Or she goes, it's a little terrifying, you know? And I said, it is a little terrifying. When I was talking to Tony, I said, it's how did I say it? It's terrifyingly exciting. You know, it's just this like life, you know? But it is a little terrifying. So if you feel that, a little stress, a little bit of, overwhelm.
Yeah, welcome to be human.
Yeah, welcome to being a human being. Of like, we're all trying to figure this out together. But again, I really look at what you and Tony are doing. It's also a very human thing to say, hey guys, listen, we'll go first. We'll go learn. We'll get the very best minds in the world together to teach anyone that wants to listen and anyone that wants to avoid the overwhelm, so that you can apply this and take that leadership role. And that leads me into this question I want to ask you. I don't feel like you can talk to you and an audience can hear from you and we don't talk about like success habits.
Okay.
Because to me you've become one of the best in the world at living and then teaching personal success habits, non-negotiable routines, things that help you stay strong, stay focused, and stay consistent in this like ever expanding and distracted world. So share with us both your philosophy and then also maybe some of your actual daily habits that you're doing to just live your life. Because like, to me, you're like at a peak state of your life, right? There's this like really acceleration state of your life at a time when you could be chilling out, or a time that you could maybe just go do something else, but you have that high frequency and high vibrancy right now.
I appreciate you saying that. So a couple things. If I wrote the book Millionaire Success Habits about a decade ago, and because I just remember thinking, everybody has habits. My parents had habits, and I remember thinking at a young age, I didn't call it habits then, but I remember thinking the things my parents did on a regular basis made it so they financially struggled their whole life. My parents were married 9 times. My mom 5, my dad 4. By the time I was like 25. Moved 20 times, we didn't have money. And I just remember thinking all the complexity, moving out in grandma, grandpa's house and all these things, is they kept doing the same thing over and over again. Yeah. And it was a habit. The way they chose relationships, the way they chose to show up for work. I love my parents, I'm not knocking them. But I was just lucky enough to see that. And then at an early age of my life, I had these 2 guys in my town. They were probably 30 years older than me. Joey Noto and Rick Affuso, or Dominic Affuso. And they were the two most successful people in my town. They were both into real estate, both married. And it just seemed like, I just saw the contrast, Justin. It's like, if I do that, I'm going to get that.
Yep.
If I do this, maybe I could get that. Like, I don't know if I'll get that, but I know for sure if I go over here, I'm going to get what my parents had. And then I remember this thing, and I don't remember what age it was. When people say habits are hard to change, I don't think so. I think when you identify a habit that doesn't serve you, what I always think is, and I did this 10 years ago when I wrote the book, is you find that habit, and then you just bump it out of the way, and you replace it with a habit that does serve you.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And I just started thinking of it more like time slots. Like, oh, wow, I get up in the morning and do X, Y, Z. I start thinking about all the things that could go wrong. I'm going to bump that habit out of the way, and I'm going to wake up in the morning and just start thinking about what could go right.
Yeah.
Right? It's like I get up and go straight to work. No, I'm going to get up a half hour early, and I'm going to bump that out, and I'm going to move or exercise for 30 minutes. And while I'm exercising, I'm going to listen to personal development. So then I got this compounding effect. I wake up and think about how the day could go well. I don't look at my phone. I work out for 30 or 40 minutes, and I listen to personal development. Okay, that's same amount of time, except that one, when I feel done, I feel on fire. Now, I know that's such a simple one.
No, yeah, it's so
But that's one of my earliest ones that I did. And then I started thinking, oh, I want the habit to feel like I'm playing offense all day, not defense. And then I started looking through, what things do I do that put me on my heels? Watching the news. I can't do that in the morning anymore, right? Opening my email and seeing something negative. I'm not going to do that anymore. So I started looking through offense and defense, and I'm like, if I could position a morning habit that makes me feel on fire, what would the ideal thing be? All right, no phones, no this, go work out, green drink because I feel good, personal development. And I just started stacking. It was the same hour. I just used it for something instead of a coffee and a donut and complaining and looking at email. And so same thing, and it tricked my brain to starting the day off on offense, right? I also remember little things early on in my career, Justin, that I figured the bigger the compelling future, the bigger the purpose, the more crap I could handle when things go wrong. So for example, like risk reward. And this is a habit I still do on a regular basis. I'm going to get, if I got 2 minutes, I want to tell you a quick story.
No, go for it. It's great.
So I was at this meeting with this, I just don't want to say in case they want to keep it quiet, but you would all know the name, one of the biggest banks and financial institutions in the world. We're 2 hours in, and their mind is blown. They brought so many people in, like, this is why our education doesn't work. We're not giving people purpose. We don't help them with change. We're going through all that. And she's like, how important is it, Dean, to have a purpose or a reason why you're doing it? And I said, a compelling future. I'm like, okay. I could see it now at my window, but in the middle of Scottsdale, Arizona, there's a mountain called Camelback Mountain. It's like the center. We all climb it. We all look at it. We all live around it. So we were looking out the window at Camelback, Justin, and I said to her, do you have any siblings? She goes, I have a brother. Okay. I said, your brother climbed, it was 95 degrees that day. I said, your brother climbs Camelback. He calls you from the top of the mountain and said, sis, I forgot to bring water. I'm thirsty. Could you run up the mountain and bring me a bottle of water? You might be like, you should have thought in advance. You're going to be fine. Walk down. I said, but what if your brother called and said, I cut myself on a rock. I'm bleeding to death. I need you to run up here and save me. She said, I jump out the window and run up that mountain. Both is running up the mountain. One just has a deeper purpose. So I learned at an early age that if I'm hesitating, if I'm not doing it, I just don't have a big enough compelling reason why. So the habit would be to search for something so big that I'm like, I don't feel like an imposter anymore. I'm not scared anymore. I'll run up that mountain. And I know I've done that. It's why I bring so much enthusiasm every time. People are like, are you always happy? It's like, I don't know if it's just happy or it's just, I'm just excited because I have something big to solve. And I think that's a gift and a habit. I hope if you take nothing else from this interview, take that.
Yeah. God, it's so good. You know what? Part of what I love about that is that's a mindset shift. Like I tell people are like, man, how do I get what I want? I'm like, okay, there's first two things. One, how can I shift my attitude? Because you can shift your attitude right now to be more passionate, right now to be more happy, right now to be more grateful. Attitude shift. You don't need to make a sale. Someone doesn't need to join the club.
No, you can decide.
You can just. This is just attitude shift. You can shift your attitude to be more grateful right now. And the second thing is, what's the next physical action I can take to move towards the goal? Like in other words,
Yep.
Let's not think more about it. Let's just like take some step towards it. And I love that you show up with that attitude like that, because that creates that frequency and that vibe where people are like, I like me best when I'm with you. I want to see you again. And that's an attitude shift. We can all step it up in that way. And so I do want to say this AI Advantage Summit. It's April 23rd through 25th. My friends, listen, if you're wanting to learn AI at all, I think we all know it's not coming. It's here, my friend. It is here, and it is moving fast. If you're wanting to learn it at all, and if you're wanting to get up to speed, and if you're wanting to be more human with it, and to lean into it, and to truly create a superpower or a new advantage, which is what's happening in the world, I want to encourage you to make sure you schedule this in. I put the link in the show notes. You can click the link and make sure you get registered. But this is a non-negotiable today. You can't
It's so
just
true.
be watching this anymore. You've got to get in the game. You've got to start learning, and you're going to literally learn from. You'll learn from all the other great teachers, but Dean and Tony have dedicated literally their whole lives. No kidding, their whole lives. Imagine if you dedicate your whole life to something, you'd be pretty darn good at it. They dedicate their whole lives to teaching and to helping people to break things into small steps that they can actually take. So you're learning from the two best teachers to help you implement something new. So I want to encourage you, don't miss this. Like, you have two of the great teachers in the world that are going to break it down for you and help you to have the advantage. And if you don't have it, there is the kind of the pain of the whole thing. If you do have it, there's the excitement of the whole thing.
Yeah.
And I just want to encourage you to be there. That April 23rd to 25th is going to be an important time in your career. It's going to be an important time in your life. It's going to be an important time in your family. And so I'm trying to shake you just a little bit, like Tony tried to shake all of us up just a little bit, to say, don't miss this stuff.
Now,
You've got to,
now's the
you
time.
got to welcome yourself to it. So, Dean, man, just really admire the work you're doing. I think the work you're doing right now is the most important work you've done. I think the real estate stuff is important. I think the leadership stuff and habits is so important. I think the marketing and teaching people how to scale business is so important. But man, if you talk about
I feel it.
It's
I
AI.
feel it. I'm working harder than I've worked in a long time, and I don't feel fatigued. I don't feel stressed. I feel like it's needed. And there's so much noise out there. You can find a million different free things on how to learn AI, and no one's learning it. They're overwhelmed. It's over their head. And that's why Tony and I wanted to break this down in a way where people just get it. Like, the best thing I could say, you might show up a little overwhelmed, feeling behind and unsure, and you'll leave with confidence and clarity and a plan. That's the best way I can describe it. And Justin, I appreciate this. I appreciate getting to know you better and your lovely wife, and I appreciate you doing this interview and pushing people our way. We're going to take great care of them.
Yeah, we feel the same way about you and Lisa, and meeting your beautiful kids. And I just really admire and appreciate the work you guys are doing. So my friends, make sure you get registered for April 23rd through 25th. And the link is in the show notes. And Dean, again, man, what an honor to have you on, brother. Appreciate you taking the time.
Thanks, Justin. Take care.